Hello, my fabulous art students. So today we are working with something called modeling clay, and you are absolutely going to love working with modeling clay, and this is going to be such a great day. So modeling clay is a kind of clay that never gets hard or dries out, and you can use it and reuse it. And so that's why today you are getting to practice some building techniques with this clay, because we can practice with it and then wad it back up and then practice with it again. Now you might notice right now I'm just kind of moving it around in my hands. I'm going back and forth. One thing I'm doing is I'm warming that clay up. The warmer this clay is from my hands, the easier it is to work with. I also am kneading it a little bit and getting those air bubbles out and getting it ready to work with. So what I want to teach you today, and what I really want you to learn today, is how to make a clay coil. I'm just going to break a piece off of this, and in my hands, I'm going to start in my hands. Whenever I start to create a project, I like to warm it up in my hands, and I like to start with a ball. That's just what I like to do. When I'm starting with the ball, I'm rolling it in the palms of my hand. This is the palm of my hand, and I'm just rolling that in the palm of my hand into, a ball shape. Then, to create a coil, I'm going to take this, I'm going to put it in my hands just like this, and I'm going to roll back and forth. And a lot of my students like to say we're creating a hot dog. We're going to create that hot dog shape. In art, this is called a coil. So you'll notice I'm rubbing this back and forth in my hands, and I'm creating a coil in my hands. But eventually it's going to get too big for my hands, and I'm going to need to lay it down on the table. So at this point, I'm going to lay it down on the table. When you're creating a coil, you want to make sure it's nice and smooth and round, and that it is consistent, which means it's the same thickness all the way throughout. To create this, I'm going to take my hands, I'm going to put them like this, and I'm pushing down just a little bit, and as I'm pushing, I'm moving my hands outward. So notice I start in the middle, and move my hands out. The reason I'm moving my hands out is I'm trying to make my coil thinner. I'm stretching it out, and you're noticing it's growing as I'm doing this. And I'm very careful to keep going back to places that are a little bit thicker to smooth those out, because you want it to be the same thickness all the way through. You also want it nice and round. Now, I have had kids that have pushed too hard and it gets flat. And then as you're rolling, I want you to listen to this. If yours starts making noises like that, it's because it's flattened out. To fix that, all you're going to do is pinch it back into a round shape and then roll it again. If it gets to a point where it's just too tricky, all you can do is wad that clay back up and start again. I start back. Like I said, I like to start from a ball. Then I roll it in my hands like this to start to create that coil. Then I lay it down and roll it out. Now, once you've got a nice coil, I would love for you to experiment with making some things. You can make spirals, arches, donuts, folds. You can make long coils, short coils. You can make twists and braids. All of those things will be on the smartboard, and I can show you that. One thing I love to do is to make a spiral. You can see I just started from the end and rolled it in like this. This right away always reminds me of a cute little snail. You can make a little snail, but that is a spiral. Let me show you an arch. An arch would be like this, and then you could do another one on the inside like this, and you just kind of squeeze those coils together. A donut. Let me show you a donut. I bet most of you have had donuts before. You're just going to pinch some off, and you're going to create a little bit of a donut like that. A fold looks like this. It goes up, almost like a zigzag. It goes up, back, and up like that. A twist. A twist is when you take two coils and you would twist them like this. A braid, girls, I bet a lot of you know how to braid. You would take 3 coils and turn that into a braid. Now that you know some techniques with the coils, I would love to see what you could create. Could you create little animals? Could you create a coil pot? See how creative you can get with this clay. But by the end of today, I want you to be a coil expert. At the end of today, we will go around and have a gallery walk where we'll walk around. You'll set out your creation at your spot and we'll walk around and see everybody's projects. So have such a great time today. I can't wait to see your clay projects.